So Nottingham Forest have put in a bid for a midfielder, for a striker, for basically every player under the planet. In fact, there are so many bids and rejections that there's no point in doing the fluffy little graphic highlight because we got loads to talk about. Let's get into it. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to this helter-skelter Forest transfer news update. There's so many players being linked to Forest, bids coming in, rejections, and everything else. So grab your popcorn, grab whatever, and sit down and enjoy. But before you grab the popcorn, make sure you've hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. Have your alerts on because there's so much news to tell you about. And I want to start with a midfielder to give us a little break from the whole striker stuff. And this one's an interesting one for me. It's Bove from Roma, who has no space apparently left for him in the Roma team currently and is free to leave. Quality player, Italian, I think he's 22 years old. He plays as an 8, I would call him, bit box to boxy, but very good as well at tackling. Now, the story that's come out is that there have been some interest in him from Premier League teams, but only one concrete offer has come in, and that's come in from Forest, of course it has. Roma value him at 15 million euros, so about 12 million pounds, but Forest have come in cheaper than that. And Roma didn't like that. They want more money for it. So at the moment, there's negotiations going back and forth. So basically, you could say that bid was rejected, but they haven't stopped the dialogue on it. Now, who is this player? Why do we need him? Does he fit in? And that does he fit in is the main question for me, because I think he is quality. I think there's a huge amount of potential in front of him. Great passer of the ball, great timer of the tackle. Can get the odd goal here and there, a bit like Mangala. Pop up with the odd goal, but not too many. But he seems, for me, and what I've watched of him in his time, is that he's better in a 3, where you've got a 6 and maybe 2 8s in front of him, where he can have a little more freedom to push up. He operates more so on the right-hand side of a 3 than the left-hand side, in my opinion. And I don't know how he'd fit into Forest's system. Now, you could bring him in as an 8, and potentially this is what we're currently looking at, a Danilo temporary replacement. But to spend about 10 to 12 million pounds on a replacement, for me, doesn't fully make sense. I mean, in the greater scheme of things, what is that? Put him on a 5-year contract, it's 2 million a year in amortization. But he can also deputise for Sangare because he can, and I think would be comfortable enough to be in that 6th position. And I want him, and I like him. He's a good player with a lot of potential. I just don't know where he fits. But what this is starting to show us with the link that we brought to you yesterday from Andre is that Nuno's still looking in this midfield area for either a Sangare backup or maybe even a Sangare replacement. You never know. Or potentially someone who can do both, such as Bove here. Such non-Italian name, so he must pronounce it like Bove, or no, that would be French. Anyway, so you can see that Nuno's still looking in this midfield area to bolster it and strengthen it. And I think half that reason is because Danilo has been injured. So I like this one, but I don't know if it will carry on or fit in the Forest team. That's my issue in it. If you've seen him, if you've been watching him at Roma, let me know. In terms of his stats, let me give you a few. I mean, stats on a midfielder aren't always a great indicator, but here you go. He's had 92 appearances for Roma and he scored 4 goals. But in a midfield, that's not really the important stat. It's kind of his style of play that I just talked about. So get your thoughts in on him down below. All right, before we talk about some other midfielders and stuff, I'm sorry, I've got to update you guys on the strikers. Okay, and let's start. And there's a couple of rejections and a couple of half rejections here and a couple of Usher-style U-turns. So let's take this one at a time. Pedro, the Brazilian we told you about yesterday, that Forest had put a bid in for about 20 million euros. That's been rejected. And the statement that's come out is saying, Flaminio think that's how you say it, rejected the proposal from Forest for the 20 million euros. After the near departures of Wesley and Bruno, Flamingo do not intend to sell anyone in 2024. So they flat out said no, and they haven't said come back to us with more money or anything like that. They see Pedro as an integral part of their team. I don't really want him, as I said yesterday, with his injuries and his flicks and his tricks. So in a way, I'm not disappointed about that one. The one that has annoyed me is Brian Broby, because this one I am very interested in. Now, we know Ajax are in huge financial trouble this summer, which surprises me, seeing that they got like 90 million for Anthony. They sold Martinez overpriced to Man U. Basically, Ten Hag bought half that team at quadruple the price. But apparently, they're still in financial trouble. And his agent has now come out and said stuff that I don't like, basically hinting that he doesn't want Forest to be the destination for Brian. Now, this is his quote. He said, "Brian will only leave Ajax if it's a good move. The fact Ajax is in financial trouble is not my problem. I'm not sending my player to just any club. They can forget about that." So basically what he's saying is, and I think there's some negotiation tactics within this. What he's saying is that he's not going to be undercut on his agent's fee. I think that's what he's worried about. Because Ajax are in trouble, what that will mean is clubs will approach Ajax trying to offer lowball prices for the player. Now, as we said to you yesterday, he's worth or valued at 37 million euros. So you could see Forest maybe coming in and saying, well, we was dealing with Gimenez for just under 30 million. He's more experienced, blah, blah, blah. That's all we're offering. And what the agent here is saying is no, don't undercut it, because I'm selfish and I want my agent's fee on it. And the fact is, he said he won't send him to any old club. This is not any old club. This has European heritage, just like Ajax. So this would be the perfect club for him. But I just don't feel his agent is advising him correctly. Now, as we told you yesterday and a couple of weeks ago, we know his agent was in Nottingham talking to Forest. And that's the thing that I'm holding on to here, that maybe there's still some advancements that can be made. It almost feels to me like Brian Broby would have been about 3rd or 4th or maybe 5th on Forest's shortlist. Now that they've gone through Crappy and Nketiah, now that they've gone through Gimenez, we'll come on to him in a second, I'm sorry, and a couple of others. Now they've come to him, this is maybe going to speed up or reignite that conversation. So I don't think this one's dead, but this agent is definitely a C-nut. Get your thoughts in down below. Okay, and I'm going to talk about the G-Man, okay? I'm not going to say his name, because you lot will berate me in the comments. You're probably gonna anyway, so fill your boots. But the G-Man is apparently not dead in the water. This is according to Romano, who is sticking by his guns. You gotta give him credit. He says that the G-Man is still Forest's #1 target, and they're not taking no for an answer. And that Forest are gonna basically fight through to see if they can make a deal happen. And this is now enough is enough. It reminds me of someone who's just been chasing a girl for ages. She's out of his league, and then he still texts her, follows her. Well, I ain't talking about me before you lot start. And then eventually the girl gets broken down and gives him a sympathy date. Something like that. This is what it feels like with Forest. Or it's just Marinakis being Marinakis, and what the Greek father wants, he gets. Or, which I think could be likely, it's Romano, the person who said personal terms are agreed, and Forest were just negotiating with Feyenoord, who is sticking to his guns and saying that this is the case. Either way, I am freaking sick of it. But the news is the news. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just bringing you the update. So if you believe Romano, this is not dead in the water just yet. This could be another Sangare, 11 PM one, and of course we'll be live for it. Get your thoughts in. Are you sick of the G-Man or not? Get it in the comments. All right, so Forest are closing in on a here we go. Ha, I just dropped that bombshell on you lot. So get excited because this is the next Ronaldinho incoming. I'm joking. Forest are close to signing Christian Fletcher on loan from DC United with an option to buy. Who is this kid? Well, let me tell you all about him. I can't. I ain't seen this kid, and if I have, I haven't noticed him. Now, he was in the Swansea under-21 team, but shout out to our boy Ryan. He's given me, our little Yankee friend Ryan, he's given me some insight into the player. And he said, and I'll quote him, because if I don't, Ryan's going to pull me up on it. Ryan says, as someone who lives in DC and has seen him play a lot, expect this one to be for the under-21s, but certainly has significant potential for the future. Only ever used as a sub in DC, but is pacey and can finish. Expect option to be most likely under about 4 million. Look at Ryan with his in-the-know stuff. And then he says his best quality are his movements, his IQ, and runs into the box. Reason he hasn't gotten more time is because Benteke still plays football. He didn't say that. I said, Ryan, I'm not misquoting you. Plays the lone striker every match for the full 90. Wouldn't say he's a fan favourite, but we've all been clamouring to him to get more time on the pitch. He'd be a good signing. So, literally, that's all I can tell you about him. Maybe I can get Lemmy on, old Lewis O'Brien Lemmy, who obviously would have played with him at DC United, and we'll see if he's got any intel. But I don't care about this one, but it's Forest news, so it is what it is. I don't know him. I'm sorry. You gotta let me off on one or two players every now and again. Let's move on. Alright, so there is one more link with Solare, but I don't think it's strong enough right now, and I ain't got the energy to bring on Friday 11 o'clock. But yes, before you lot in the chat go, I know there's a link, but I don't think it's strong yet. It may materialize. So let's just quickly touch on to the game tonight. And that is, of course, in the Carabao Cup. I keep wanting to call it the Carling Cup. Anyway, against Newcastle. And what should Nuno do when it comes to the team selection? Should he go all-out attack? Should he go with his first 11? Or should he think about what's coming up on Saturday at Wolves? And I think there is certain things he has to do. One, he's got to play Miguel in goal. There's just no point in him of signing if we don't get to see him. So I think that's a must. In terms of the wingers, I want to see both Sosa and the Portuguese Grealish on the left and right hand side. And then the rest of the team, whatever. Would you start Moreno? I guess that's questionable as well. Maybe give him 60 minutes, see how he feels. And I definitely want to see Eric Da Silva on the right hand side. I would probably go Bolly and Omar Bamadeli in the middle and then chuck on, I don't know, Yates and Dominguez or something as the 6 and the 8. I'd put Anderson in the 10, score against his old club. And then I'd put Taiwo for 60 and then Wood for the last half hour. There you go. I just named you my team. Cool. But that's what I would do. Now, I think the question is, which manager actually cares about it more? And I think the manager that cares about it more will probably win. My prediction is it will be 1 apiece and Forest will win on penalties. Now, of course, we'll have the watch along for you, so make sure you tune in. I think kickoff's at 8. So we'll kick it off about 7:45, talk you through the teams and everything else. Do you care about a cup run? I gotta say, and I've got to admit, and I'll probably get hate for it, but I'm with Ant on it. I don't really care until we get to the quarterfinals. I do like a cup run. It's always, you know, we get to see Forest again and what have you. But it just doesn't really get me going until we get then. But I'll still have my full energy tonight. Don't you guys worry. So that brings you up to date with everything. I know it's a bit of a helter-skelter kind of thing, but there may be another video later on. If something breaks, we will keep you posted. So make sure, 1, you've hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And those alerts, thou shall must be on. That's not even the right sentence. We'll see you later. Come on, you Reds.